a death in the wrestling world, and it's the death of Sika Anoa'i. So it was announced yesterday that by his nephew Joe Anoa'i on Instagram, the father of Roman Reigns and the late Matty Anoa'i, best known as Rosie in WWE, has passed away at the age of 79, June 25th. And you told me yesterday, or the day before, I hadn't realised that you'd wrestled the Wild Samoans really early on in your career.
Oh, yeah. I was in Atlanta, Georgia, and we were in, let's see if this catches on, the Mother Church of Professional Wrestling, which was the studios of Channel 17, the superstation in Atlanta. And I was working, there were two companies there then because they'd split, they were fighting. So I went in one morning, or not one morning, one afternoon, because both companies taped at Channel 17. That's never happened before. They would go in about 10 o'clock in the morning and we'd come in about 2 o'clock. Sometimes we would run into each other, leaving and coming. So, and then I found out from the booker, Mr. Tom Ernesto, who was one of the famous Assassins tag team, that I was booked against these two guys, and I didn't even know them. And he says they're called the Wild Samoans or something. So now I had a clue. So I went looking for them, and I found them and said, "Hey, I'm with you guys today." And they were very nice, very friendly. And I remember I had just lost a hair match, so my hair was almost bald. So I had come up with this gimmick that I don't sell the head anymore because it drove me crazy. So I went in there to tell them just how stupid I am. I went in there to tell them, guys, I'll sell anything except the head. I don't sell the head. And they looked at me like, well, we don't either. I said, well, and I decided that right then I needed to drop my no head sale because I weighed maybe 205 pounds. They weighed like 325. And they were like 6'1". I'm like 5'10". So, and they were two of them. So I said, okay, guys, whatever you need. And then I walked out and I went, damn, some big guys. But to be such big guys, and this is true about all Samoans, you never feel them. They're the lightest working guys ever. I mean, I was probably stiffer than they were because you didn't even feel them. They were like silk. And that's true with all of them. And I don't know, I guess that's the way they were trained. But I never felt them. I'm glad because if they wanted to do some damage, they could damn sure hurt you just by hitting you on the back. But we had a good match and I got out there unscathed, so I was happy.
Do you remember the first time you heard like the trope, if you like that word,
I
within
like that. I like that trope.
within wrestling, where
What's
like
that? What's that? What's that mean?
it's almost like a cliche.
Like a motto, like
No,
type deal?
it's almost like a cliche or like a rule
Okay.
within television or in this case
Okay.
wrestling
Okay.
that all Samoans and all black people had very hard heads. Do you remember the first person like you either worked with or you watched as a kid on TV who like had like an indestructible head kind of thing?
Bobo Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. And I've always heard that too. I don't know. It's just something I grew up with, I guess. I don't know. It's not true, but
Hey, you were told.
I was told. I didn't know. I didn't go and check it out. So,
You didn't go headbutt people, essentially, just
but
check.
some guys do have hard heads. I mean, if they're hitting your head with their head and you're getting knocked out and they're not, so I would say their head is harder than my head or the head they hit. So these guys they were Well, here's a story about I think it was Sika. I think Sika was the meaner one of the two. Afa was more friendly. Sika was the more serious one. But one time I wasn't there, but I heard this. They had a riot in Dothan, Alabama, or semi-riot. People too drunk to riot there. But they were really, I think it was Austin Idol. He was trying to come back from the ring, and the people surrounded him. And Sika was watching, and Sika went out there and just made a move at them, and they all backed up. And then, and then Idol went, hey, then he waved at them. And then he got out of there. But see, the thing about being that big and that mean looking is the people are afraid of you. Because hell, I was afraid of it. I mean, if we'd got into a serious disagreement, of course, we wouldn't have got that serious with it because I'd already, after the first couple of exchanges back and forth, I'd have excused myself and just hit the ankle express and walked out the door, or walked out on the road or on the sidewalk or somewhere.
There's another trope that I don't know if the Wild Samoans did, but some of the early Samoan wrestlers, like Nef Maiva, like in the 50s, did in the mainland, would, like, you'd grab them by the hair, but, like, aside from the hard head character, is that their hair was razor sharp, and you cut your hands if you touched their hair. Like, did you ever hear that at the time?
No, I didn't hear that. Now, where did you hear that?
Nef Maiva, apparently, so they said. But this is the 50s. So
I never heard that, really. Well, so if it cuts your hands, how do you sell it? Like this?
I think you have to rub your hands with ketchup first and then go shake it off.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. When was the last time you saw Afa and Sika? Did they turn up in the WWF at times, just like backstage to say hello?
Maybe once, I think. And I don't know if Sika even remembered me, to tell you the truth. Well, he knew the Zeb Colter character, but he may not have remembered me back when I was working under my real name back in Atlanta, back in those days. So, but both of them have always been very, very friendly. I've never heard anybody say anything bad about them. But my condolences to how do you say that last name? Anoa'i?
Anoa'i.
Anoa'i. My condolences to the family. My condolences to Roman. And rest in peace, Mr. Sika. You'll be remembered for a long time.